All right, so the new MPC 3.4.3 update is now available, and it's a cool update. It's pretty cool, and they fixed a few things under the hood, and there's a few things that they did not fix. So let's go ahead and take a look at this new update.
Bolo!
All right, before we get started, if you guys are trying to get a new MPC or pretty much anything for your studio, make sure you guys go ahead and click my link in the description and head over to zZounds.com. zZounds has a whole bunch of stuff on the site, and they have a whole bunch of stuff on the site that does not require a credit or a background check. Now, it's not everything on the site, but it is a whole bunch of stuff on the site that you guys can get right now with no credit or background check. All you have to do is order the product, they will send it to you, and then you can make monthly installments. All you just need is a credit or debit card hooked to the account. So if you guys need anything for your studio, make sure you guys go ahead and click my link in the description and head over to zZounds.com and get you some gear today. All right, so I'm a little late to the party on doing this video. I actually was supposed to do this video the other day, but I didn't get to doing it. But the new MPC 3.4.3 update is now here. It does have a few fixes in it, and they do have a few things that they did not fix in it. And I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I do have to agree with brother Ghetto Styles. This update is a little mid. It's not nothing really big. It's okay, but it's kind of a mid-grade update. So shout out to Ghetto Styles. He has a really good channel. If you do not follow him or subscribe to him, I'm gonna put a link in the description, and he actually made a video on the update already, and I'm gonna make just another video, just, you know, kind of my own little flavor. But he actually did a very good job, and he has some really interesting videos on his channel. So make sure you guys go ahead and check out Ghetto Styles. Really good guy. And I enjoy watching his videos. Now let's talk about the new updates to the MPC 3.4.3. Number one is they fixed the splice issue where splice was not showing up in the browser menu. So now splice is now there. So if you guys do have a splice account and you use splice on your MPC standalone unit, it is now there. So splice is there. Another thing that they did fix is now when you are using sampler effects, if you are in a sampler using the effects now correspond properly with the cue link. So before that, it was some issues with that, but now those correlate with the cue links and they work hand in hand with each other now. So you can either use your touchscreen or use your cue links. Everything works fine with that now. Now, another thing that they fixed is the Wi-Fi issue. They actually made the Wi-Fi better somehow. I know I had issues in the past with trying to get my unit to connect so I could either update or do what I had to do with Splice. They actually fixed that, so the Wi-Fi connectivity is much better on the unit, so they say. Now, for all of you people who like to sample and you already have samples loaded up in the machine and you have very large samples, the MPC can now handle those very large samples a lot better. Like I have this sample right here. This is a sample from a loop maker that I get a lot of loops from. He has pretty big samples, and once I loaded everything up, as you guys can see, the sample loaded up very fast and I was ready to go. So if you do have very large samples, it won't take as long as it did before when you add large samples to your drum pads or to your sampler or whatever you want to do. So they did pretty cool with that. I can see a noticeable difference. Now, another thing that they did is with key groups. If you have a certain sound and you want to add that to a key group, now, if you do change the parameters of that sound before converting it to a key group, it will have a legacy setting to where those parameters will be retained in that particular key group. So the parameters from that drum track will be saved over into that key group. And they have more updates on here as well, but one of the biggest updates that I like is when we are exporting our tracks. So if we have a whole song ready and we may want to export the stems or whatever, me personally, I have had an issue when I went to export stems and they did not export correctly. Sometimes they wouldn't show up, or it'll be like the regular track would be like exported with a few stems. It was kind of like crazy. But now I actually went in and exported one of my last sessions. All the stems exported correctly, the correct audio tail, everything. I haven't had any issues so far, so everything is pretty cool. All right, so now let's put things in perspective. Everything that I have tested has been tested on my MPC X Special Edition. I have not tried it out on the MPC Live 2 or on the MPC Key 37 or even on my older MPC X. I haven't did it on those, but as of right now on my MPC X Special Edition, these things work. Now, let's talk about a few things that have not been updated. And number one, you guys know I've been talking about this for a very long time, is the MSB and LSB issue. Some of you guys don't understand what that is. I'm gonna break it down for you real quick. So as you guys can see, I have synthesizers right here and I have a rack unit as well. With the MSB and LSB values, I can change the tones inside of these synthesizers without even touching these synthesizers. And it's very useful because now I don't have to go and reach around and have to touch on various synthesizers to get the sounds. I can just do it directly from the MPC. And that way, if I'm not completed with the track, I can just go ahead and save those values on the MIDI tracks. So when I turn off the MPC and turn it back on, it will directly go back to the sounds. And that way I don't have to like save it in like a sequence or a certain type of way inside of the boards. I can just save the values inside of the MPC. Now, it does work. You can select the sounds. It does work. However, on some multi-channel devices like my Roland Phantom right here and pretty much all of my other Roland keyboards that have multiple MIDI tracks, there is a skip of the first note. So it will play through, like it'll play through, and even if it loops back around, it'll play through. But when I'm trying to record a track, it will skip like that first note and it'll like throw me completely off. Now, some people say they've been having problems with this since the 2 point whatever. I didn't notice it until the 3.0 came out, and this is a known issue that Akai knows about. I'm hoping that they can get this resolved because, as we all know, the MPC used to be called the MIDI Production Center. Then it changed the name to Music Production Center, but this thing, when it first came out, was the MIDI Production Center because it could handle MIDI very well. Still can handle MIDI very well. However, with the MSB and LSB issue, is really hindering me because that's the way I produce. And I know a lot of you guys out here have been producing the same way, and it's just very convenient to be able to save your sounds and stuff like that, and to be able to, be able to select your sounds without having to reach around and change things on different boards. So I'm really hoping with the next update that they can get this fixed. It works in the 2.5.1. No issues with that, but they still haven't fixed it, and I do not know why. Now, if you're using like a mono synth, like a Prophet, or even like the Hydra synth right here, there's no issue with it. Even on my Roland Juno X, there is not a problem with the MSB and LSB. But if I am using my Phantom, there is a problem. If I'm using my FA06, there is a problem. With the Modi X, there was a problem. So it's basically on workstations that I'm having that issue with, and I hope they can get it fixed. I really hope they can. Man, it's been going on for a while now. Now, another thing that I did kind of notice too is that with the mute section, when I press on the pads on the mute section, it is better than the previous version, but the mutes, when you're pressing the pad to mute things, is still not locking in as good as it did in the older 2 point whatever versions. It's better, but they still are a little off a little bit. It doesn't have the correct response when we're pressing on those pads to mute, especially for you people who like to do live performances, who like to hit the mutes and stuff like that. I know some of y'all have kind of found a way to kind of work around it, but I still noticed on the older 2 point whatever versions, those mute pads have a better response than the ones that are on this new 3.4.3. It's better, but it still ain't there yet. Now, another thing that a lot of you guys were curious about was, are they going to get the load times on the VSTs that are inside of the MPC a little bit faster? So I went ahead and tested it out. To me, it does seem a little bit faster, especially using like Analog Dreams and Cloud Supply. I did notice it a little bit faster. Don't know if it's because I already had the Analog Dreams loaded up or whatever, but it did seem a little bit faster. Some sounds did still take a little bit to load up, but they didn't take as long. But maybe it could be because I was using the MPC X Special Edition and maybe not my MPC Key 37, but I will test that out in a later time and I'll see and kind of compare the load times with those sounds. They have another issue with the 3.4.1 with some of the larger sessions not being able to load up. They actually have an issue with the drum factory sounds not showing up. They actually have a workaround, and I think Ghetto Styles actually has a workaround on his page, but I think he has a way to where you can load up the factory drum stuff on there, if I'm not mistaken. But go to his channel and check it out. But as you guys can see, there are a few pretty good updates. It's okay. It's nothing like super major, but they did fix some things under the hood, and I can notice a little bit of a difference. So if you guys have already updated your units, let me know if you see a difference in anything, and let me know if some stuff is just still acting the same. And let me know how you're enjoying your MPC experience as well, and let me know of some future updates you guys would like to see. So, hopefully somebody from Akai may see it in the comment section. So I hope this video was informative. I hope you guys learned something from it. And like I always say, peace out.